Hey, everybody, this is Josh with the Dirt Court Jesters podcast. Co host Tim is on deck with us as well. Awesome to be joined by Ohio sprint car legend Todd Kane. Todd, thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We were talking before we started recording, and this has got to be the first thing we talk about. Jack Hewitt came up. So you're talking about Jack Hewitt, you're talking about Jack Hewitt and yourself being at Eldora. Tell us that story again.
Well, when I was younger, probably 86, 87, I'd run the bottom at first at Eldora because I didn't want to get close to the wall, on the wall. And this would be a heat race, it'd be a caution, and he would come out and turn 4 and he'd point, go to the top. I was like, I'm running second in the heat. And he'd just be pointing, like, go to the top. And I would come in and he'd go like, good job, second. So what? You got to get to the top. And hey, finally, one time I got to the top and I run like 6th or 7th in the heat. And he goes, well, you're close. You're still a foot off. He goes, what? He goes, it doesn't hurt as bad when you're right against it. He goes, what? He goes, if you crash and you slide into it a foot, it hurts and it breaks shit. He goes, you got to get close. He goes, you're getting there. So he was my teacher for sure there because I was like, really? And then finally I got up there one time and he goes, you did it. You did it. I'm proud of you. You did it. So he taught me a lot and, and also patience. But people don't think so, but he goes, it's all about patience. When you get out there, yeah, you think I'm crazy, man. He goes, I'm really not. He goes, once I get in that lead, you try to just be focused and try to hit smooth laps and find a wet spot or sometimes you got to move. And no, he just, he was definitely a great teacher over the years.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And another story you kind of prompted me on, and I want to make sure, I think we would touch on it regardless, but you were telling me at one point in time you were banned from all 6 tracks that Earl had. Is that right?
Yes, he told me about all 6 of them. This is what happened. It was a local show at his track. They used to run on Sundays a little bit. It's probably 86, 87. I ran 3rd or 4th, whatever it was, and I go up to get paid, and it says I was 15th. I goes, no, I was 3rd or 4th. Well, I'm not a big guy either, but some little guy jumped up and goes, you're wrong. I was like, no, I'm not. I said, I told you. And then Earl came from nowhere. Earl Baldis came out. You don't argue with my guys. You don't do that. You don't do this. I was like, oh shit, Earl's pissed. And then he starts, and then he put his hand up. I was like, whoa, is he going to hit me or not? And then one of his big guys back in the day, this guy had big muscles in the 80s, came and grabbed me. And I was just like, whoa, I'm just trying to get the right spot. And then somebody came up, no, he was 3rd or 4th, whatever. And he got so upset. He goes, you're barred forever. Hey, I got a certified letter on Tuesday or Monday morning, certified, saying you're barred from Mansfield, Eldora, Findlay, every track he had. It was 6 at the time. And I was just like, oh no, I'm barred from all this tracks. And what did I do? I mean, I was devastated. Well, back then, because Mr. Hunt and him were good buddies. And then Mr. Hunt goes, well, we might be able to get you back in. I go, I had a certified letter. He goes, let me see what I can do. And so he calls me, Mr. JW calls me. He goes, okay, I've got it set up. He goes, you got to go and talk to him during their first race. He has a push truck meeting, and it's a meeting for all the people that work there in March or April. He goes, you got to go there and then he'll might let you in. I walked in there. There was one chair in the middle surrounded by about 80 people around me. And he goes, you're in the middle. I was like, oh, no. And he ripped my butt from one. And he goes, well, hey, that day I wasn't feeling good. This day I'm feeling good. He goes, I'd jack you up right now. And so I was just like, oh, my, I ain't saying a word, of course. And so Mr. Hunt said, don't say a word. You're going to get upset with what he does. Because Mr. Hunt must have knew what was going to happen. And he yells at me for probably 15 minutes. And he goes, I don't know if you're back in or not. Just leave. I was like, oh, no. I had to take all that, and I'm probably not back in. Then I get another letter saying, you're back in, which was great. And I was back in, which was awesome. And then you know what? After that, me and him become the best friends. I mean, how you fight. Sometimes you become great buddies. That's what Jack Hewitt always said. He goes, some of my good buddies are guys I fought over the years, I go, what do you mean? He goes, you just respect each other better. And he goes, you think so? He goes, yeah. And he goes, how are you and Earl now? I goes, we're great, honestly. Because Earl goes, I sure hope you win tonight. He go, well, come on. He goes, no, I'd rather see you win. I go, well, thank you, Mr. Baldis. Well, because we had a motorhome, and so we would stay there. And you know what? He was out on the racetrack till 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes, because we'd be sometimes working on my broken car or whatever in the pit. And he was so dedicated. That's who made definitely the Kings Royals was Earl Baldis. And the fans. The fans, you can't forget the fans love racing. They love competition. And Earl brought definitely one of the greatest things, definitely Kings Royal, I think.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, now kind of getting into, I love those stories, and I feel like there's more coming. But let's start out with the easy question for you. How did you get into racing?
I started racing actually quarter midgets when I was like 5 years old. So I started racing those, and I raced those till I was 16. I was a grand national champion in 1974, and then I got second a few times in the mid 70s. And then I didn't really start racing until I graduated high school. I was a wrestler in high school. I enjoyed that. But then, and then pretty much I started in 1984. I got my feet wet in 84. In 85, we started racing with the All-Stars, with Bert Emick, which he just passed. Bert and Bridget were great. There's not a lot of people like Bert Emick anymore. Bert was awesome. And we started racing the All-Stars, and I got, the Rookie of the Year with the All-Stars. And then it was just great. It was a great learning curve, doing the All-Stars pretty quickly. And we did that from 85. And then I did that till, probably about 95 or, early 90s. I did All-Stars for about 10 years. But, it was great with Bert Emick, Bridget, the wife. They really, had a great program going.
Good deal. So when we were doing our research, what I call research, I noticed you had a handful of races last year. Is that right?
Yeah, it's hard to quit. It's a bad drug.
No, that's awesome. It led us to the next question, which was, are you going to get back in the car this year or next year? Any more plans to keep going?
Well, I drove the Charlie Brown car, the 99 car. Because me and Charlie were great buddies. He passed away a few years ago.
Yes, sir.
And then his nephews took it over. That's Jason Brown. And he's trying to do a good job. He's just learning. He didn't know what he was getting into when he got the car. It's a lot of work. But no, I drove for those guys a few times. And it's just so, it's a family too. People understand. I haven't seen, you miss some of your good friends, and it's tough. But definitely a Charlie Brown car is a car that I drove a little bit off and on. But I still have my own team at my shop, and I was going to sell it a few times, and I probably should sell it. Because my kid right now is 14, and he's a hockey player, playing a lot of hockey right now, my kid. And so I've been watching that a lot, and I actually been coach now too a little bit. I'm pretty good with the kids. So I try to, but definitely the racing. I don't think I'm done yet, but
good,
I don't know.
Good.
I might do a few more times my own. I think I want to do my own car, because it's just what we've always done. Me with my dad and Uncle Danny, and I've had some great, great help over the years. I had Rich Evans and Tony Bennett. You got to have a team, of course, because it's one in the race shop. It's not one. Well, it's one on the track, but you got one in the shop too. So
yes,
that's awesome.
We've heard that recently. So you kind of touched on it. You've raced different variations of sprint cars. You've raced for different teams. You have your own team. You've been in a lot of big races. Today, specifically, we want to talk about one of those races in particular, the Kings Royal. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the Kings Royal?
It's a great race. It's something that you just got to be prepared for. It's something that I used to think about all the time. Definitely a couple months before we get the engine ready or get this special, anything, the best stuff you could do, you had. Just like when I ran third in 1995, I was racing my own car then, but I got a call from actually Junior and Janet Holbrook, they had built a brand new car with a brand new Bob Kreiner motor in it. And I was just like, well, geez, I don't have brand new stuff. So hello, it's not stupid. I was like, yeah, I'll drive it. And we got in that car, and it was just awesome because they walked up, because I think I qualified, like 10th or 12th. And then next thing I know, I ran second or third. He go, hey man, you're an outside front row. I said, what? He goes, you're on the pole. I go, oh boy. No, because just, just pumps you up. And actually the engine wasn't quite right. And I think Bob Kreiner's son was named Clint. He was really young at the time. I think he's in charge now. But he came over and worked his butt off, trying to get everything right, get everything perfect. Because we even changed gear during one of the reds, because you could change stuff during a red then. But definitely the new stuff helped. But it's just getting the right position. And you know what? I don't think I lifted, because, good people go, what do you mean you don't? I said, if you lifted Eldora, you better get off the track. And people's like, yeah, right. I go, I'm telling you, in 1995, I hardly ever lifted. Maybe when Steve Kinzer kind of bumped me in the wall, because me and Steve raced really hard for a while, and me and him battling, and then we had Dave Blaney just pass by us. I was like, see you, Dave. But no, definitely. And this is a competition of beating the best, because the best goes to the King's Royal. I mean, you have the best of the best teams, best mechanics, and just an honor to do good. And I wanted to definitely be sitting in that chair whenever I got to sit in that chair. No, it was definitely the King's chair is awesome. But yeah, it's just a fun race. So much work goes into it, the shop. I mean, it takes a lot.
Well, you kind of, touched on what I was going to lead into, which was kind of how that weekend was for you. What do you remember from it? So you kind of went through that. What I found really interesting, I was out there when you were running third. I was probably about 14, 15 in 95. But doing the research today, like you just mentioned, Dave Blaney wins it. He was lapping up to fifth place, so he was checked out. He was gone.
Yes, he was gone.
And then Steve Kinzer, the King of the Outlaws, second. Todd Kane, third. What does that mean? Like when you see your name on a podium King's Royal finish with Dave Blaney, the Buckeye Bullet, Steve Kinzer, the greatest to ever do it, the King of the Outlaws, and there you are right there with them.
Well, you got to think you can beat them. You got to think you can beat them or don't be on the track. That's what Jack Hewitt teach me. He goes, you got to think you can win or don't be out here. So you got to know you can do it. And I knew Janet Jr. Hopper gave me the best. I mean, definitely brand new stuff that year. So not that means anything. I mean, everybody's got new E's, they go there, but it just takes so much work to get there. But I mean, you got to think you can beat them or don't be out there. And that's just what it is. But you got to get that attitude. And it's hard to get it until you go out there and run there all the time and start running with the guys. But I mean, I didn't race with Outlaws a whole lot, probably, a handful of, probably 100 times or 150, 200 times. But I ran the All-Stars mainly, but, definitely the Outlaws back then. You had Steve and Sammy, and Wolfgang and, Bobby Allen. Even Bobby Allen taught me a lot, watching these guys, and, we'd talk to them after the races. And just like one time, Bobby Allen, right? Because I think I was up at Sharon and we broke something. And Bobby Allen's out getting drunk. I'm in some hole at 2 a.m, and I'm working on my car. And then he goes out and kicks our ass the next day. I was just like, well, just go figure. And no, but I mean, back to King's Royal. But no, when you just get stories like that and people like that, but you got to think you can beat them. If not, you shouldn't be out there. Honestly, I mean, but it takes, you can't be a young veteran, but I mean, some can, if they're gifted, you can, like, maybe Carl Larson or somebody like that, who's a gifted racer. But I mean, you just got to think you can.
Yeah. Definitely true. Tim, I think you got the next one too.
Yeah. I think I skipped around here, so
no, you're good.
Caught back up. Oh, you want to talk about the format, Josh?
Well, we'll get to that. So the The one I was talking about was the first Kings Royal that Todd made was in 1986.
Yeah. Yeah, that's in my notes here.
86.
Yeah, 1986 was your first one. You made 9 of them. That led all the way to 2003. So from the first one, though, in 86, what I didn't look up your age. I don't know your experience going into that at 86, but kind of what do you remember? What is that weekend? What is that everything going into your first Kings Royal? You made your first Kings Royal. Like, what's that feel like?
It's such a great feeling to do it, to make it, and that's what's so awesome, just to get in it. But of course, you want to run good, but it's when you just get in and stuff, you're just learning. But it was just so fun to get in it, and for the team, I'm happy for my team too. That they worked their butt off for me. So when you make it in there, it makes them happy too. That's what it's all about, is making your team and you, because if you don't have a team, you can't race. And the biggest thing is to appreciate them. But I want to get Earl's money. That's what always fun to get Earl's money if I could. So I always like to get his money.
Were you still back in the day when he would give out just shoe boxes full of cash?
Yes, I was around for that. Yeah. No, Earl was something else, believe me. And Jack Hewitt taught me so much there. If it wasn't for Hewitt, I wouldn't be as good as I was there, because he made me get to the top of the track. No, he made me get to the top, but so it was definitely him, and definitely helped. And a lot of help from Bob Hampshire over the years. Bob Hampshire taught me so much about racing, and he was able to make my dollar go a lot farther. And he built me some great engines. That was one of his motors in '86. We got one of his engines right before that, and that helped us get us in the race. So it's all about getting help too from certain people too that's helped me over the years. Eldora.
I feel like Earl was given money in shoe boxes until he turned that place over to Tony.
Probably, yeah.
Todd, he's one of a kind, right?
Who was that? I didn't hear you. I didn't hear.
Earl's one of a kind.
Oh, Earl was one of a kind. We'll never have him again or nothing like that again. What he loved is, I think he loved racing too, and he loved the fans to have a good time. He loved the right racetrack. It was so good because he cared about his racetrack too. That's what was so, you could tell Earl cared about having the right track, the right for the fans. He will never be another Earl Baldis. I don't think so. I mean, maybe Tony might try, but he doesn't have the love. Like Earl did it for the love of it, I think, pretty much. I mean, I think he loved the racing and loved the track. I think he liked to go out there at night, because I used to watch him going, this guy loves this. The guy loves to be out there till 3 or 4 in the morning getting the track ready. Most owners don't need to do that, but he wanted to do it. Like, he wanted the perfect racetrack, or wanted to try to make it as good as he could, because he wanted the fans happy and the racers happy. And I think that's the special part of Earl Baldis is, yeah, he's a hothead, which I am too. So that's why we didn't get along the greatest sometimes, and we were mad at each other. But that's just part of racing and part of the people. But if you don't have a little fire under your butt, then you're probably not a racer. So
Was there ever a time during any of your Kings Royal appearances where you were starstruck by another driver?
the way Dave Blaney drives that track sometimes, Dave was so smooth. I mean, of course, you had Kinzer and Wolfgang I used to look up to and watch, but Dave Blaney he's the one that I would always watch. I mean, if I had to watch somebody, qualifying, if I went last qualifying, I go, okay, wait, Dave's out early. I'm going to watch and see what he does. So, you always watch the badass drivers, and Dave was just so smooth. He was just like, other guys might be a little bit more radical. Dave was a smooth driver. He's one of the guys that I like to watch and learn from later. And sometimes even Jack Hewitt back in the day, it might rain or something. And one time Eldora, I don't think it's the King's Royal, but the racetrack was only halfway up, and he goes, go above it. Go above it. You go above it. You got to go above it, right up against the wall and go above it. I go, I'll crash. He goes, so you ain't gonna win if you don't. But no, it's just learning things like that from drivers like that. And then I did it in the heat race. I was in the first heat. I go, do it in the first heat. He goes, you'll get the lead. He goes, just don't crash. I was like, I'm not gonna crash, but he goes, all right. And that's how you learn because the racetrack, it had rained or something. He goes, they're all gonna go on the edge of the cushion, go above it, right against the wall, and you'll get the lead coming out of two. Do you think so? He goes, yeah, you'll get it. And he was right. And I go, Hewitt, you were right. He goes, I told you. But yeah, I mean, definitely did. I mean, as a starstruck, I mean, Hewitt would do things with a race car, even at Eldora. He would sometimes hit the back straightaway wall, and I go, "Why'd you do that?" And he goes, "I was just checking things." I go, "Yeah, right." And he goes, "I didn't mean to, but yeah, I wasn't lifting. You can't lift." He goes, "I know that." And he goes, "Don't ever lift." He goes, "Don't lift unless you really have to." I go, "Thank you."
So we were going through, like I said, you have 9 Kings Royal starts, starting in '86. Obviously, the highlight was the podium behind Dave and Steve. Is that your most memorable Kings Royal, or is there something more memorable maybe that we don't know about in one of the other 8 Kings Royal starts that you had?
Something I just thought about it, but it's not a great thing. It was probably my last one there. I was in the B main and we were making it. I was in it, and so Mr. Jason Size decided to take me out. But he got the spot. He took me out, but it's something that I remember that I'm not really happy with still to this day. But you gotta let it go. But that's one of the things I remember because I tried to fight him, of course, and I know that doesn't get anywhere there. You don't try to, but when you get upset, it's just part of racing. It's just part of what I learned from Mr. Hewitt. You just gotta let it go, let him know what you think. And then Mr. Hewitt says, this is another story, but Hewitt said, you always give him one. He goes, just go and tell him that's one, but you don't give him two. He goes, now if they're an asshole right away, just go ahead and punch them. And then you guys become friends later. I go, wait a minute. I thought that you said not to do that till the second time. He goes, well, if they're an asshole, just punch them. I was like, well, okay. But no, Mr. Sides, I probably should have just punched, but I didn't. But that's something I remember, because you're going to make the race. I thought, I'm fourth. I'm fourth. It's come around the last lap, and then he just took me out. And we've all done those things in my race. I've taken people out. I've done it myself. So you can't. It's just part of making the race, and Side was in the race. So, but we've never really made up yet. So, so I don't know. I mean, but I know he still runs, and I respect him. He's raced a long time, so he's done well over the years too.
Yeah. So, what kind of mindset do you have to have during King's Royal weekend? Is it a different mindset going into that weekend compared to some of the other weekends that you have?
Well, yeah, you always got that a little different mindset. I would say going to the King's Royal because it's something everybody wants in their cap if you can get it. It's something that would be awesome to have during your career. Definitely a King's Royal. I wish I could have got one, but I never did. But it's just, yeah, the mindset is you got to have a go-getter mindset, but you got to take care of your car too. You can't be too stupid and wreck your car and wreck your stuff for your crew, but it happens sometimes. That's just part of it, but you just got to have the mindset of go get it, and there's no tomorrow pretty much there, and you got to be aggressive. And Eldora is an aggressive track, and if you're not aggressive at Eldora, you probably shouldn't go to Eldora. And you got to respect Eldora because it's a tough track. It's just a mindset. You got to be ready. But some of that's, of course, is in the shop and getting ready. But it's a different mindset. If you guys never raced before, it's hard to explain it, I guess. The racer it's such adrenaline rush too. People don't understand. And I like beating people. I mean, I like to outthink people, outdrive them. that's part of it, and you just got to think you can outbeat people and outsmart them, and out. You got to hit the right part of the track, and it's a mindset game. But you got to be on top of your game. You can't be not ready for Eldora Speedway. And the Kings Royal is one of the best races, and everybody wants to make the Kings Royal, and it's just an honor to be in the Kings Royal. To do that four abreast is just, because you're just okay, four abreast, one lap. This is going to get good. It's time to step it up, and to be ready for wherever you start. And you never know if you can get to the front or not, and you just keep trying. And that's what it's all about at Eldora, is just never give up either.
So we touched on this a little bit last night with Greg too, and I think it's always an interesting topic. Pro or negative, the Kings Royal format? What do you think, Todd?
Well, it used to be 6 inverted, but I know they changed it now. They used to have like 6 heats, invert 6. So you have some slower guys in the front, but a lot of the fast guys didn't like that, because some guys might have sandbagged back in the day because they could, if you're good enough to do that. So I understand how they want to get the fast cars to the front. I understand that, but it doesn't make it for a great race sometimes if you have the fast guys always in the front. I mean, it's still the Kings Royal, but even the year when I got there, they were upset because I was 12th or 13th quick and I was on the front row. But that's the way the format was. I took advantage of the format. You got to take advantage of the format. I think there should be a little bit of inversion, but I understand everybody's got such good stuff. It's hard to pass a lot of great drivers. Maybe invert 4 is okay, but they used to invert 6 back in my day. You invert 6, so if you're in the top 30, you had a chance to maybe get in the race. Now you're just starting the back of the race, because it wasn't a dash then or nothing like that. If you won it, it went back to qualifying back then. But the format, I think it's okay, because people spend so much money to get there. And they all do now, but people don't want to start. If you're the fastest, they like to start up front. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? You've watched a lot of racing too. What do you guys feel about it?
I personally like it. We talked with Greg a little bit last night about it. I enjoy it because there's a lot of smaller budget Ohio teams, or from wherever, it levels the playing field a little bit. It gives the lower budget teams a realistic chance of making the Kings Royal, which,
yes,
to a low budget team and their sponsors, is a lot of money, first of all. And second of all, when you go to your sponsors that year, the following year, whatever, and you say, I made the Kings Royal, that means something. So I enjoy it. And the way I was explaining to Greg, my opinion was, yeah, you're going to get a handful, maybe 3 or 4 guys in there that hit the invert just right, and they made it based on that. But at the end of the day, look who's winning the Kings Royal. Donnie Schatz, David Gravel, Kyle Larson, Brent Marks. So I feel like you're kind of getting the best of both. You're letting some lower budget teams get in there, but the cream is still rising to the top at the end of the day.
No, I agree with you on that. No, I think it's, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I second what Tim said as far as that's concerned. Gives the lower budget teams a shot to make one of, if not, the Knoxville Nationals, right? But the Kings Royal's up there.
No, it is.
Huge sprint car race. And it's just, you talked about it, what it means to guys that grew up around here, whether, like in your case, Todd, a driver, or in our case, fans. It's just, it's one of those races that you look forward to every year.
No, and the fans love it. That's what the fans love, to go out there and go early, during the week and get set up, and it's just a party, and they like to relax and hang out with all their friends and family, and that's what something pretty special too is. You're there for 4 or 5 days, and then you got the big one on Saturday, and people just get pumped up for it.
I'm gonna kind of change up. I think I'm gonna add to the question that I had next, Tim, and I kind of want to talk about a little bit. You mentioned the four wide, and this is something we talked about recently. When when you're in the four wide and you're doing that parade lap and you're able to see the thousands of fans, maybe even hear them, what is that like being four wide for the Kings Royal at Eldora?
It's a special feeling for sure, and you can't hear them. Even the crowd I've heard before. I was like, wow, they're going nuts. You can hear them, and it's just amazing to hear them, to see them up there on the fence, excited, and yeah, it's not a feeling. Yeah, that race it pumps you up when you're sitting there and you tighten your bolts about the last time, and and then getting a clean tear off on you, getting ready and just going okay, and then they're gonna go one to go, and it's just it's just great seeing that place with the fans around it is pretty amazing, and just the four wide is just so exciting.
Finish this sentence. To be competitive in the Kings Royal.
You must have a great team and a great driver, period. I mean, that's what I feel. You got to have first it goes to the team, then your driver's got to be great on the wall, smooth, wanting to push it wide open and take a couple chances. If you don't take a chance or two at Eldora, you're probably not going to win. I mean, some tracks, you don't have to put it on the line, but at Eldora, you got to put on the line, and I've been in the wall and smashed into it a few times, so I respect Eldora for that, and I've walked away pretty much every time, so I feel fortunate for that.
All right, so obviously now the Kings Royal, it went from 3 days, well, probably when you were doing it, 2 days, then 3 days. Now it's 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I know there's separate events and all that stuff, but kind of what are your thoughts on a 4-day event out there? And we no longer have the 360s, which I know a lot of us guys from Ohio, that meant a lot to us and to those race teams being able to race in front of that many people at Eldora that weekend. So kind of what are your thoughts on the 4-day show and no longer having the 360s out there?
I think the 4-day show is great. I mean, Earl probably didn't know it back in the day he could do that. I mean, he always did a couple days, I think, for us, and then it went to 3, and now it's 4, like you said. But I think it's a market for it. I think, people love it. So, and people love Eldora. And definitely drivers, most drivers like Eldora. Some don't, but most drivers like to come to Eldora for the challenge and to make the Kings Royal. I mean, and it's just a great atmosphere for 4 days. Now Tony does a great job of doing it. I mean, definitely Tony's put a great program together with some good people around it. And I think that helps. I mean, I could see it going longer than 4 days, honestly, in the future. Maybe he might if he thinks he can make money at it, but I don't think it's a bad thing at all, the 4 days, honestly. I think it's a good thing, and I think the fans love it or they wouldn't be there. So I think the 4 days is okay. The 360s, I mean, I didn't run a lot of 360s in my career, but yeah, it was a great honor for them to get there and to show their talents, their sponsors there, to show them. And I think you should bring them back. Honestly, I mean, I think it would be good for sprint car racing to see what's coming up. Maybe you have up and comer that maybe one of the 410 guys or the owners will go, wow, look at that guy or that team. Maybe we should help this team or help them. And that's just going to help the 360s. And yeah, I think they should at least bring them back a few days. I think they should personally, but they do what they think they need to do, I guess. But I think it would be better and for the sprint car organization to bring him back, because then you got up and comers trying to make the Kings Royal going, hey, let's go ahead and get a 410. Let's do this, let's do that. And their sponsors are like, cool. Well, if they never go there, then their sponsors might not ever think about it. But they go there once and see the crowd, the atmosphere, just And the king's chair, I always wanted to sit in that. I think I told you that already. But, you always want to see that and be in it. And there's not another atmosphere around it. I've been to Knoxville once during my career. I went out. I've gotten a Holbrook car one time. Um, but that's pretty cool too. But Eldora to me was always my track.
That's awesome to hear. I think Tim and I will agree with you on that one.
Fully.
So, Todd, we've got a few questions from some fans.
Yes.
I would like to start. Kurt Wilson asked, there are many crown jewel races. What is something unique about this race that makes it different?
Well, I mean, to me, it's Earl's track. It'll always be Earl's track. I mean, I know Tony has it now, but I always wanted to win a Earl's track and Earl's King's Royal. I mean, because he's the one that started it, so it just means so much. The King's Royal is just like I said, it's a feather in your cap if you could ever win it. But to make it's an honor too, of course, when you're there and you get in the race, and it's just awesome to be in it and to experience it the way the teams love it. And it's just, as a driver, it's hard to explain because it's in your heart. You can probably see it in my eyes that I talk about definitely the King's Royal because it's just a great race to make. It's a great, to make it, but then if you can somehow win it, it will change your life forever, I'm sure.
Todd Nunez asked, who is one legendary Eldora driver that you wish you could have raced against there, and why?
I've raced against them all, so I don't know if I would ever. Honestly, it's tough to think about, but somebody I really looked up to a lot was probably Doug Wolfgang. I mean, but I've raced with him a few times there, but my favorite was I looked up when I was younger. I looked up to him big time. I thought he was just so intense because I was parked beside him one time at Eldora, and I got to watch him. Because I was like, I'm gonna watch this guy, and I got to watch him, and he was pretty intense. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know when you're parked beside somebody and you're able to watch him like that, it was just a lot to take in because I think he was in a Weicker car then, the 29 car. But somebody like that, and just his demeanor, his overall. And then I saw him get really upset. And then fans came up, and then he changed his demeanor right away. It was just awesome. I was like, he was madder than I saw his whole face red. He was mad, and then all of a sudden, fans come up and he just let it all go. And it's just like I was like, wow, I thought he was pissed off for a minute, and now fans come up and he's fine. No, it's just as in somebody watching, trying to learn, from the best. I was just like, this guy can change, like, because I could tell he's mad. His face was all red. I was like, man, he's pissed off, man. Holy shit. And then 2 minutes later, fans come up and he's the greatest, funniest guy ever and nice. But for that little, it's just, and you watch him, and I got to watch him that whole night. I remember how he did, but it was just, that was probably like late 80s, early 90s, and one of those. But it was just so fun to watch him because I was right beside him watching him, and it was just, I raced against them all pretty much. I mean, and of course the best, Steve Kinzer. I mean, he was pretty awesome to watch all the time too.
I mean, Dave Blaney, Steve Kinzer, Todd Kane on the podium in 1985 at the King's Royal. That's awesome.
No, that was just awesome to do that. And I mean, of course I wanted to win it. I let it for a little bit, and then that Dave, and then that's when Dave just drove by both of us. We were like, see ya. But no, I mean, it was just so we had a good race for second. That was about it. But no, it was this. I mean, I don't know. I mean, definitely one of my favorites, of course, is Jack Hewitt. I mean, he taught me everything in racing and a lot in life too. I mean, he was a good teacher. I mean, some people might not think so, but he taught me a lot over the years.
a driver fan question for you. So last night, like we were telling you earlier, we had Greg Wilson on here. So Greg's question was, and I hope he's not messing with us because I'm taking his word at this, and he's a good friend of mine, so I'm trusting him on this. If this is true, you may be the only person in the world qualified to answer this question. So Greg Wilson wants to know, more exciting, state championship in wrestling or running the Kings Royal at Eldora?
I wasn't a state champion, but I got fifth, and I was a district and regional champ. But the Kings Royal. But as in a team thing, it was fun with my teammates. But I mean, they both take a lot of work, of course. It takes a lot of work and dedication to get there. Definitely, the Kings Royal would be definitely a better feather in my cap. But I was a coach during COVID. Yeah, wrestling coach. Little guy. I had to be head coach because both, my son at the time in wrestling, he was in third grade or fourth, maybe third grade during COVID. He goes, "Dad, you used to wrestle, right?" I go, "Yeah, I used to wrestle," but he goes, "You got to come and help out." I go, come on, haven't done it for 38 years or 30. Dad, weren't you a champion? I go, yeah, but buddy, I haven't done it forever. And he goes, "Please, Dad." So of course I went out and I did it. And guess what happened during COVID? The assistant coach and the head coach both got COVID. So the head coach calls me and he goes, "Hey, Coach Todd." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "We got COVID." I go, "What?" He goes, "We got COVID and you take the program over. I got to shut it down for 2 weeks. They're not going to let us come for 2 whole weeks unless you take it over." And this is like kindergarten through 6th grade kids. So I just like, really? Take it over? But you know what? That was awesome. Just teaching the kids.
Oh, that's cool.
I got a kid his first win. And during the COVID, his mom and dad, his mom ripped the mask off. Hell with the mask. She hugs me because we're at a meet. You had to wear a mask back then, of course. And she goes, "Hell with the mask." She ripped it off and he hugged. "We got to win. We got to win." And guess what? I saw him in Kroger probably 3 or 4 months ago. "Hey, Coach Todd. Hey, Coach Todd." I was like, wow, that's cool. I said, I used to coach him. "Remember I got my first win with you?" I said, "Yeah, thank you. How you doing?" He goes, "I love it. I'm kicking butt." I said, "I know you are. Good job." But no, it's wrestling and racing definitely, because it helped because racing is a mental game too. You're by yourself. People don't understand. And so is wrestling. Not a team sport, but wrestling's by yourself, and so is racing. When you're out there, you put your hanglet, your headgear on, and you go, and you put your helmet on. And yeah, when I put my helmet on, there's a whole different level of me because I start to focus right away. That's what probably a lot of guys do. I usually put my helmet on early because I want it on early so I can get my game face on. You got to have, if you don't have your game face, don't get out there. My feeling is you got to be ready to win every time. If you're not ready to win every time, then don't get on the track. I don't care if I start last. I think I can win. And that's why I tell these guys in wrestling is you got to think you can. If you don't think you can win, you're not. You got to be positive. And that's what the racing too is. Racing's very hard though. It's a different level than that. But it's a mental, racing's a lot mental too. If you think you can and you're ready and your team has got your car ready and you're ready to go, then the driver's got to do his job. And then you can make everybody happy in the pit later. But
do you have a tip that you would share with other drivers who are running their first Kings Royal?
It's going to be an honor to make it. And you can't get too caught up in making your first one as in being focused to go race, because it is a big lead up to it. You got to get on. They used to do the straightaway thing. I think they still probably do if they have the time. I don't know if they do or not. Or I know they do, or all the drivers, they introduce all the drivers. You just mentally, it's a mental thing. You gotta put it back. It's just another race, so to speak. Because if you put too much on it, it could be tough for you. You gotta. There's a fine line there. I don't think I ever mastered that either. No, but that's. The first King's Royal is a thing you'll never forget, and you just got to be ready, but not be too. You can't play too much into it.
The King's Royal is our favorite race ever. It always probably will be for both of us. Eldora is probably our favorite place to ever go. So kind of when we walk in as fans and we're looking around at the King's Royal, the throne, just everything, the pageantry and everything, it gets us juiced up as fans, right? Just seeing the throne, seeing the setup down on the stage on the front stretch. What does that do to you as a driver? When you roll in and you see the throne sitting there and victory lane on the front stretch, like how does that get you a little extra juiced up seeing that stuff, or does it mentally lock you in? How's that kind of get your juices going?
The funny thing is, I usually bring with my rig. We're always with my rig, but when I go over the track into it, my whole attitude changed. I mean, I could be fine up at the top of the pit and everything, but as soon as I go over the hill into the pit area, you just see it differently, and it's just you're like, we're here, the King's Royal. It's time to win this. Time to focus on it. Try to go out, do the best job you can do. But for me, it was just going over that hill, going over the hill into the pit. My whole attitude and demeanor changed for sure. I put my game face on. I mean, pretty much. I mean, I talk to people, but not my fans. Of course, I would. But besides that, I get my game face on, and I take it all in because I love the atmosphere of the King's Royal. I mean, who wouldn't? And I like to look in the front straightaway. I would look off of turn 4. I would go watch turn 4 right there and just sit and watch. And then I could watch all the fans and just see it was, but as in that, you're just going in the track just got me pumped up. I mean, it's just amazing.
What would be a tip that you would give to a fan attending their first King's Royal?
Well, probably have glasses with you. You know, you always got to have your glasses with you or something. Better a tear off or something. Don't wear white. I mean, my wife now, she was girlfriend then. She come to Eldora one time with white pants on. I was like, oh, no, honey. They're not going to be white after this race. She said, what? I said, they're not going to be white. You don't wear white to a racetrack. I'll be fine. I go, I know you'll be fine. But no, no, definitely for a fan, it's just they're not going to see more guys put it on the line. As a driver, I'm not saying you got to get Fremont and stuff like that. Yeah, you still got to put it on the line. I'm not meaning that, but Eldora is another level. That's why some guys don't like to go to Eldora. Some guys, I ain't going to Eldora. I hate Eldora. It's dangerous. So every track's dangerous. It can always, any track can hurt you, but I know Eldora can hurt you. But it's just, that race is just amazing. And I think for the first time fan, it's just an honor to be there and to watch it. And you might see history. You might see one of the best drivers. Maybe they'll go all the way up like a Carl Larson, or something like that. But for a fan, they're not going to see a better race for sure. And it's a great race to watch from. You've got the greatest atmosphere. They do a pretty good job at Eldora running things. So it's a pretty awesome event for fans to be there for their first one. And I know a lot of people that's gone, and I got some fans that have been going now for almost 20 years. They come and watch me one of my last ones, and I haven't missed one for 18 years. I said, what? He goes, oh no, I go every year. I said, holy shit, 18 years. But when you guys are probably the same way, you guys have been going for, as a driver, it's hard to go if you're not racing. I mean, for me, it's hard to go, but I'm actually going to be there Wednesday taking my motorhome over for my family. They're going to stay there and party. They're not good at the motorhome thing, so I'm going to go drop the motorhome off. I'm being a nice big brother, right? I'm going to go drop the motorhome off so they can party for 4 days and have fun.
Before we let you go, Todd, you've had some great stories. You started it off with a really good story. Yeah. Anything else from Eldora, the King's Royal, or your interactions with Earl Baldis or Jack Hewitt?
Eldora. It's been such a great place. Earl did such a great job getting it started and getting it to where it is now. Just Tony's job now to make it awesome and great. No, I wish I'd go back someday. I still like to go back someday, but I'm not ready to do that anymore. But I'm pretty much retired, but it's
You're not saying you're retired.
no, I'm not. I mean, I always get it's hard to racing is such it's something I've been doing since 5 years old. So it's something that I love to do. And Eldora, the King's Royal. Yeah, I would never say I can't win yet, but probably would never win. But I've done it. I love it. The fans I know love that place, and the racers get pumped up for it and build special everything for it, and that's just so much fun to try to outsmart people. And I mean, definitely try to win that race. But I love the King's Royal.
Ohio sprint car legend Todd Kane, thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks, Todd.
Guys, this is Josh with the Dirt Court Jesters podcast. Tim along as well, and Todd Kane saying, we hope to see you guys at the track.